Hey, I'm Brian Miller, magician and motivational speaker, and welcome to Behind the Magic, where we do inspiration, tips, and tutorials for creative people like you and me. And this is kind of a different video. I didn't actually film this video directly for this channel. I filmed it for the students in the podcast fellowship by Seth Godin, which was a fellowship that I was a part of recently. Absolutely magnificent. I'll leave some info in a description. I'm not affiliated with it anyway. I did pay for it and take it. In any regard, in order to kind of just as a service to the rest of the students in the course, I made a video with 10 tips for getting better, cleaner audio, doing a podcast or doing voiceover work in your house or in your apartment at home when you're not in a professional studio. And I thought that many of you who are here on this channel would also enjoy those tips. So without further ado, here they are. Enjoy. One of the best things you can do for your audio quality is to focus on the room that you're in. Now, if you're out there in the real world kind of running and gunning and you're going to be doing audio, podcast interviews on the fly, you're not going to have a chance to control your environment as much. Now, there are things you could do, but that's really not the point of this video. What you are looking for in your house or apartment is ideally a carpeted room. One of the worst things you can do is have hardwood floors. Now, this room has hardwood floors. Part of it has a carpet. It makes a huge difference. Carpet really wipes out the reflections of your audio off of the floor, off of the ceiling, off of the walls. And on that note, not only are you looking for carpeting, you want a room that's carpeted and ideally with a bunch of stuff on the walls. And you're looking for things on the walls that are not reflective. So not glass or plastic, but ideally canvas or bookshelves are phenomenal. In an apartment I used to live in, I recorded entire albums that are up on Amazon and iTunes, singing, rock, music, guitars, everything, in this otherwise kind of crappy apartment because I had this giant floor to ceiling bookshelf with 200 books on it. And I just set up my microphone, and anytime I needed a microphone, I set it up where I was aiming, where my voice was aiming right at that bookshelf from about 6 feet away. And so my voice was going into the mic, going past the mic, hitting the bookshelf, and the audio would scatter through the books and it would never come back to me. Vibrating. Pro tip audio number 2, always turn off anything that may vibrate in the middle of your audio. Super professional, Brian. Tip number 1, worry about your acoustics. Tip number 2, you know what? We might as well make that tip number 2. Make sure that your phone is on airplane mode, unless you're using your phone for the call, obviously. But what happens is, you ever hear that that little kind of buzzing or beeping or like that modem noise that comes in really low below somebody speaking if you're listening to watching a YouTube video or something? That's a text or a phone call coming into a phone that's on the same wireless network basically as the audio that's being recorded, though that we don't hear that noise. The human ear doesn't hear it, but it gets picked up by microphones. So you want to make sure that any of your devices, if at all possible, like your computer should be, you should turn the Wi-Fi off in your computer if you're not using the computer. More to the point, as I know what a lot of you are asking is, what equipment are you actually using? So right now I'm using a gold standard microphone. It's not expensive. It's the Shure SM58, which you can always find for about $100, and usually you can find it used between $50 or $80. These microphones have been in the music industry for 50, 60 years. And some of them, the actual physical microphones have been around for that long, and they work exactly the same. They are durable, they are rugged, they sound fantastic. They've been optimized for the human voice, which just goes to show you don't need to spend a lot of money to get high quality audio. But here's the thing. You can get high quality audio out of a $100 microphone, but you can also get high quality audio out of a $20 microphone or a $10 microphone or the microphone built into your phone, as long as you know how to use it. Here are a few tips for using any microphone. You want to get about as close to it as you can. You almost want, they tell singers to eat the microphone. I don't know if you ever heard that before, but I don't know if you can see this. I am
1 inch away from this microphone. Now, this is a directional microphone. It's cardioid, which means it's picking up sound. So it's angled here. It's picking up sound right in front and a little bit wide. So this is about where. So if I was right about here, you'd probably hear it fine. If I was right about here, but if I'm over here, you're not going to hear it really well anymore, even though I didn't change the way I'm talking. As soon as I come back here, you'll hear it much, much, much cleaner. Directional microphones pretty much just pick up from the front and a tiny bit on the sides. They don't pick up almost anything from the opposite side at all, which means if there is something that's making noise in the room and it's over there, this is how I'd want to angle. I want to angle where I'm talking at the sound source that I'm trying to avoid. That will minimize the sound of that extra thing, the extra noise, by putting it off axis. Make sense? The next thing we need to talk about is the proximity effect, which is a principle in audio that says as you get closer to a microphone, the sound of the bass or low frequencies will be enhanced. So if you're really looking for that nice, crisp, full podcast sound, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you've been listening to Seth's Akimbo, they have that beautiful, warm, full sound. If I even just move 6 inches away from this microphone and continue talking the way I have been, you'll notice if you've got headphones on that I just lost almost all of that beautiful bass and another 6 inches. And that bass is completely gone. And it doesn't matter if I boost the volume up at this point, it's still gone. But if I get closer, you'll notice that I'm getting this really buttery, smooth, low sound. And this is really the sound that you're looking for when you want that kind of, friendly, conversational, whisper in your ear style. If you're doing a live interview, you would be handling the microphone and you need to get your guest or you to keep it as close to their mouth as possible. But people have a tendency to go like this when they don't know what they're doing with the mic, and you can hear that this becomes a problem. You can get a directional microphone and get fairly close to it and stay there, then you will be in great shape. Now you notice that I'm leaning on the table right now. I'm leaning on the table, which is not generally a good practice when you've got a microphone that's also sitting on the table. It's the reason you see those boom arms that come down and have shock mounts around them, and the mic just kind of, sits there like this on a boom arm, so that if you're watching Joe Rogan, those types of podcasts, you'll notice that. And it's because anything that hits the table can come through the microphone. Now, I'm very, very careful. This table is actually, I don't know if you can tell this, this table is actually, it's a professional magician's card surface. So it's very, very soft. I knew that I wasn't going to make any noise by setting my hands down on it. But generally, having your arms on a table while the microphone is also on there, not good practice. Now, you might also notice that I've got a foam covering on the top of this microphone. This is called a pop filter. This is the actual beautiful microphone itself. The SM58 has a pop filter built in. Now, a pop filter, hopefully right now if I go pop filter, you can hear what a pop filter is supposed to be doing. The plosives, the sounds that you make where air shoots straight out of your mouth, most microphones, those sound really harsh and really bad when they hit the microphone. This particular microphone, the Shure SM58, it has a pop filter built inside of the encasing. But even still, you can get some bad sounds coming in. So this is a windscreen. It's foam, costs like $1. And you can put that on there and it'll significantly cut down on the amount of plosives coming through. But if you really want to go out of the way to make sure that the plosives are being taken care of, you would have something like this, which sits on an arm and it attaches to the mic stand or attaches to something else, and you can kind of angle it. And then, I don't know if you can tell, but this thing was actually moving. What this is doing is completely avoiding any of those sounds coming through. The advantage is that you lose all the harsh plosive sounds. The disadvantage is that it has to take you a little bit further away. So typically you'd have this right in front of the microphone and you would still want to get up pretty close to it. This is fine if you're just doing an audio interview. If you're doing a video interview like this, it starts to obscure your face and you have to worry more about the angle of the video. All right, 2 more quick points. I know this has been a long video, but I really hope it's been helpful. I wanted to make this before I get back on the road this week. For the next 2 weeks, I don't know what I'm going to do. This podcast fellowship fell right into the heart of my busiest travel season. I'm going to be speaking at conferences and performing at events constantly on the road for the next 2 weeks. So I'm really hoping I don't completely lose track of the fellowship. It's been incredibly useful, and I don't want to just post my stuff and not be giving feedback, but I'm starting to run out of time. So I'm going to do my best. This is me trying to be helpful just in case I don't have time to be commenting and engaging as much as I'd like to be. Second to last point, always use headphones or don't use any audio. Right now, I'm recording directly into my computer. I have no audio that's coming out of anywhere. I don't have headphones on. The speakers behind me are muted right now, which means no audio is coming out. You don't want your voice to be coming through speakers in any way, because that can create a feedback loop where you speak into it, your voice comes out of the speakers, the microphone hears what you just said, and it sends it back through in an infinite loop. That's where feedback comes from, and it's also a really sure way to get crappy audio. So either if you want to hear your own voice, you got to have headphones on, or you just got to do it like this and know that your levels are set for sure before you hit record, which is what I've done. And on that note, here's the final tip. Setting your levels. This is a little more advanced. If you're not at this point, don't worry about this yet. I'm sure they're going to get into this in the fellowship. But you generally want to set your audio incoming levels to sit between -9 and -12 dB. dB are decibels. Decibels run from -infinity up to 0. 0 is the loudest an audio signal is allowed to be. Anything louder than that clips. That's that digital distortion that sounds really, really bad. You don't want that. So 0 is a brick wall in audio. Generally, rule of thumb, make sure your incoming audio level, when you watch the incoming level peaking on like a green meter or something like that, you'll see the little -3, -6, -9, -15. You want your audio signal peaking. That means the highest, the loudest it ever gets, somewhere between -9 and -12. That gives you headroom, room between your loudest signal that you're recording and 0. If you have 9 dB or so of headroom, then if all of a sudden somebody yells really loud, aha, I did not clip. I just wanted to see if I did it. If all of a sudden they get excited and they yell and you weren't ready for that, all that extra headroom hopefully means that you won't clip, that you won't distort the audio signal, and then you can deal with it in post if you know what you're doing.
All right, well, I hope that was helpful. I hope it was useful. If it was, let me know in the comments. Specifically, was there one tip in particular, 1 or 2 tips that you were surprised by, that you hadn't thought about, that really you think would help you out? Anything you want to know more about, go deeper into on this channel, let me know. I love doing audio tutorials more than anything. Actually, on the note of audio tutorials, I also enjoy doing reviews of audio gear, as many of you know. Let me know if you'd be interested in finding out more about this new lav mic that I'm using. I've got an entire new lav mic and recorder system that I'm testing out for the first time this week. This is one of the first videos I'm actually using it on, so hopefully it sounds good. If you want to know more about it, I'd be happy to talk you through it and do a review. I don't just have one of them, I have 2. So that was mysterious. Anyway, thanks so much for sticking with me. If you did enjoy this video, if it helped you at all, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, ding the notification bell if you want to be updated, and always remember that our world is a shared experience. Have a great day.